So he's had a couple of flops. Well, who hasn't?
You have a new book in mind?
Oh, of course he does.
Well, the movies have covered Charles Dickens' classic A Christmas Carol in every way imaginable. Every actor you can name, from Alastair Sim in the great classic that was an early take on this in the movies, to Bill Murray and Jim Carrey and Albert Finney and on and on. Various versions of Scrooge have turned up in the movies, but I got an original one for you, and it's inventive, witty, slyly clever, and absolutely a holiday delight here. It's the man who invented Christmas, and it's actually the origin story of A Christmas Carol. It's how Charles Dickens came to write this, and that all takes place in 1843. Charles Dickens is actually kind of a rock star. He's a very successful author, is beloved everywhere. And in this movie, though, he's at a point where he's got writer's block. He doesn't know what he's going to do next. And his last book was essentially a flop. This is after he's had all this rich success. What does he do?
My lamp's gone out. I've run out of ideas.
Are we in trouble?
No, of course not.
I have told you not to disturb me when I am working.
The inspiration comes to him in fits and starts here, and he takes from real life suggestions, and suddenly gets the idea to write A Christmas Carol, what becomes A Christmas Carol. And all of these characters, particularly Scrooge, pops into his head as well as on the screen when he's got that tremendous writer's block. They come in and sort of dictate how to write this book. It is a very, very funny concept, and it's put to great use here with Dan Stevens, certainly from Downton Abbey fame and star of the year's #1 movie, Beauty and the Beast, in which he plays the Beast. Dan Stevens plays Charles Dickens as kind of a guy who may be full of himself and not all that nice, but he's just trying to get by as the very, very successful author of the time, who people come to expect something more from than he can deliver at this particular time. That's why this story is so important to him. In fact, he can't even get it published, so he winds up having to publish A Christmas Carol eventually himself. Well, Christopher Plummer is the Scrooge of his imagination, and better casting you could not hope for here. Plummer just dives into the role of Scrooge and really nails it. It's very, very funny, very amusing to see what he does with this, and there's a lot of wit involved in the screenplay here.
What is it but an excuse for picking a man's pocket every 25th of December?
Yeah, keep going.
A time for paying bills without money? A time for finding yourself a year older and not an hour richer? If I could work my will, every idiot who goes about with Merry Christmas on his lips should be boiled in his own plum pudding and buried with a stake of holly through his heart, he should.
And I really, really enjoyed the way it plays out. This is a Christmas movie that isn't like any other I've seen, and it's a terrific premise, and I think you're really going to enjoy it. There's a lot of spirit to this movie, a terrific cast that also includes Jonathan Pryce, who plays Dickens' father, but he triggers the childhood trauma that really brings Dickens full circle and able to write this magnificent soon-to-be classic book. And this movie may soon-to-be classic holiday fare here as well. I think you're going to have a good time. I can't think of a better time to see The Man Who Invented Christmas. It's a feel-good movie and a very fine job done by all. No bah humbug from me. I say, go.